It's raining now, so there's not a lot to show you. Stratus 300 feet off the ground, and a little fog, and that's about it. But it's 65 degrees right at this moment, and the tropical air, it's close at hand here. Thanks for joining the Meteorology Lab channel. I'm Tim Vasquez, and we'll take a look at the weather around the country, starting with Texas here. We can see that subtropical flow coming up from the southwest right there. This is infrared, so we're looking at temperature here, and the higher clouds are showing it as these colored areas. So this is all going to be altostratus, cirrus, and then beneath that we have lower cloud cover, which is going to be stratus and stratocumulus. And I would say that this is mostly stratocumulus because the stratus itself is going to match the temperature of the ground. So it's going to look like these dark blue colors here. And out over the Gulf, things look pretty warm. Warmest temperatures just off the coast of Corpus Christi and Brownsville. Surface map for right now. Let's check that out and move down to Texas. We've got 70s off the coast right here, 75 at a lot of these oil platforms. And the flow is out of the southeast, so we've got tropical air coming up through South Texas. And we can actually place a cold front roughly like this. So you see that divides upper 60s and low 70s from these 50s and 40s up to the north. And we're getting a little rain developing north of that front, so that's helping. A lot of that is due to isentropic lift as we get ascent over the frontal surface. Then out to the west, I think we've probably got a little bit of a dry line, so that might be located something like that. And that divides low 50s dew points from these 30s in very fair weather out in West Texas. Let's take a look out to the west because things are getting active out there. Our main Christmas system is coming together over California. And where is it located? Frontal analysis, of course, is very challenging. Out there in California, we can see there's definitely a southerly component to the winds around Las Vegas and Southern California, and not so much up to the north. We can see kind of a variety of different wind flows, definitely out of the northwest along the coast. So going with that, we can kind of infer that there's probably going to be a surface front right in this area. So we'll take a look at the thickness charts and try to see where that's happening. Also out in Utah, looks like the front has come through Salt Lake City. 32 there and snow coming down. The temperature anomalies right now, they're looking like this, and you can certainly use this to place your fronts, because if the temperature is below normal, you're probably back behind a cold front, and the same with warm air, you're going to be south of the front. So this is probably indicating we've possibly a front through here like that. So we'll kind of look along those lines also. And we can see temperatures are much above average in Texas too, so this suggests our front is kind of right through that area. And we're also seeing another front come through central Canada like that. North flow behind that, and out to the south of that, things are a lot warmer. But one area that's very warm is the North Pole. Temperatures are running about 40 degrees Fahrenheit above normal there. And that's because they've tapped a very deep southerly flow. The Gulf Stream waters, they kind of work up around Iceland and off the Norway coast and as far north as Svalbard and Nova Zemlya. I don't know if I have that right. But it reaches this area here, and it tends to stay pretty free of ice, and that's the reason why Murmansk, which is located right here in Russia, tends to be kind of a clear port. They have clear waters there. It's easy to ship stuff there, and a lot of stuff was sent there during World War II to support Russia because the pack ice just does not reach that far south. The waters are very warm, and today we're tapping that with a very strong southerly flow going up to the Arctic ice pack. And I did run a high split trajectory for the North Pole right now, and you can see trajectories have come all the way from south of Iceland, around the Shetland Islands and south of Iceland. So that with a little bit of subsidence. You see the parcels are coming from higher elevations and they're warming adiabatically. So that's also helping to warm things up. And as a result, we're getting temperatures that are quite above, a bit above normal. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. I'm going to bring up the North Pole here. And we've got temperatures in the low 20s. So believe it or not, that's warmer than what we have in South Dakota right now. But anyway, down in Texas, we know that warm front is down to the south. And another way we can look at that is to pull up the soundings. So we'll go to the UCAR sounding page here and pull up Fort Worth. And you can see the frontal inversion here. Not only do we have warming with height, but we have moisture profiles becoming more rich with height. So we're probably looking at the top of the frontal surface about right there, about 4,000 feet above the ground. Above that, tropical air. If we extend that downward, we get temperatures of about 68 to 69 Fahrenheit. And even all the way down to Corpus Christi, now you can see we've eliminated the frontal inversion because we're right out there in the tropical air itself. And surface temperatures here are around 73 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit with some decent moisture near the surface. A little bit of capping here at about 800 to 750 millibars. So that's helping to suppress thunderstorm activity. Could we get storms? Well, I can try mixing the lower 150 millibars. I'm going to set that here for the moisture, an average of that green line. And then for the red line, I'm going to go with maybe a high of 76. I don't think they got much higher than that. So yeah, that's enough to support some thunderstorms. You can see a very tall positive area through here, but there's also some cape in here helping to suppress things. So we really need temperatures to be above 80 degrees to support thunderstorm activity down there. And then the other direction up at Oklahoma City, we know that they're well north of the front. And there's the top of the frontal inversion, again about 3,000 feet deep, and temperature's pretty cool below that. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think that's pretty much it. You can see a little bit of the shower activity on the radar. Very light, but I can hear it coming down on the roof right now. So, I think it's about time to look at the forecast here. Let me get our charts all set up here. Okay, let me take a quick look at the chat over here and say hello to all our usual visitors. Got Alexi and Sue and Kevin and Felix, Mark checking in. There's Tyson watching the snowstorms pass through Tahoe in Eastern California. Very high snow rates out there. Yeah, we should take a look at that quickly on the thickness chart. We'll do that. And yeah, there we go. You can see that frontal system making its way through Central California. And I'm probably going to place the front kind of like that. And the warm front, I'm not too sure. Probably might go something like that. Maybe that little wind shift south of Salt Lake City. That would be what we're looking for. So maybe I'll go with this here. So then I can go to our surface chart and kind of see if that matches. And I would say, yeah, that's probably supported by the data. It's a little questionable up here in northern Nevada, but definitely through Fresno, down through the coastal range, that looks pretty good. So I think we're north of the warm front, or north of the cold front here. And as you can see, a lot of the deeper moisture kind of advecting northward through Southern California. So we're going to see that system make its way eastward during Christmas Eve across the Rockies. And let's move it forward to tomorrow's webcast. You can see the cold front working through Arizona during the day tomorrow. Then for the webcast, it's going to be right around here. So just clearing Arizona here, but a lot of precip following in the wake of that cold front. And snow in the higher elevations there around Flagstaff and Winslow. Then for Christmas Day, during the day, it's going to look like this. We're going to see the system pulling out into the Great Plains, coming in through Woodward and Childress and Lubbock. And the warm front will be extending up through southeastern South Dakota, almost to Minneapolis, and through Milwaukee. And it looks like that rain and snow line is going to be pretty far to the north because it's a very warm system. But we're going to be watching this back area here as that moves eastward through the evening. So there we go. By early morning, looks like the main blizzard threat is going to be concentrated up near Grand Forks. And the front itself, again, this is Monday morning. The day after Christmas, going to be running kind of like that. So we're going to be looking for showers around Chicago and St. Louis. And most of the snow threat should be north of Lake Superior and northern Minnesota. Then for our Tuesday webcast on the 27th, pretty quiet pattern with high pressure across much of the eastern U.S. And you can see that lee side trough developing in Colorado right there. Looks like another Pacific system coming in through the Pacific Northwest. Then on Wednesday, it looks like we get another shot of cold air working southward. So you see that there's a bit of a Alberta clipper working southward. And we have to watch this packing of thickness lines in here because that's a potential area of frontogenesis. And on Thursday the 29th, we're looking at this. Cold air advection clear in Texas and much of the southeast U.S. And it looks like our frontal boundary in the west kind of moves very slightly northward. Then on Friday the 31st, or Friday the 30th, looks like warm air advection pattern sets up across the Central Plains. And we have another Alberta clipper working southward. So there we go. So another shot of cold air coming south. And there it is. See that big high pressure area. Lots of cold air advection coming in through the Central Plains. And I think this is tracking a little bit further west than the models had it yesterday. So you see where these thickness lines, they dip down. That's kind of along this axis. That's in the high plains. So that's going to stand a good chance of making it down to Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. So Christmas Eve, that's already moved all the way down to Texas. Big blue norther coming through. And then on New Year's Day, big cold high pressure over Texas, kind of a cold day. And another Alberta clipper working southward. So looks like we're turning up the polar outbreak conveyor belt once again for next week. And then for January 4th, got another one here. So we are going to start getting active again with this cold weather. And we'll take a quick look at the Canadian model. And I believe when I looked at that, we had a very similar track to this Great Plains system on Christmas. That's going through northern Minnesota, so it looks like the models are pretty much in agreement. And you can see the main blizzard threat is going to be in the Grand Forks and Winnipeg area. And then by Monday morning, that's pretty much gone. But of course, where it emerges in the northeast U.S., New Hampshire, that area, looks like they'll be getting a little bit of that, a little bit of maybe freezing rain. And then that'll transition over to rain later on Tuesday. Okay, so that's about it, all I've got here, so I appreciate you watching, and let me take a look at the chat real quick and see if there's any questions. Little comment about Novaya Zemlya. Yeah, new land. They did some nuclear tests there back in the 50s. Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear bomb. I think that was in 60 or 61. And where do the fronts originate? Do they originate from the Pacific Ocean, pushed from the jet? Well, I'm probably closing out here, so I probably can't go into much detail, but yeah, they're tied together. The jet stream is there because of the temperature contrast at the surface. Okay, I appreciate y'all watching, and I expect to be here tomorrow evening for New Year's Eve, and hopefully we'll see you then. Have a good evening.